Hi everybody! Welcome back to my channel and welcome again to another painting tutorial. Today I'll be painting a rose. We'll be doing a close-up image of a rose. And it's just a pink rose, but I really love this one because we will be focusing more on the petals. So as you can see here, my canvas, which is size 20 by 24 inch stretch canvas, is already painted black. That's because I don't want to video that part where I underpaint my canvas with black because there is really nothing, there's no skill to be learned from that. You just paint it black. You can even buy a stretch canvas which is already pre-painted black. So I already removed that part from the video. All the colors that I'll be using in today's tutorial will be listed in the description box below. And the colors are, we will only be using, I think, 4 or 5 colors. We have here pink. Okay, you cannot really see that from here, but I can show you. So we have here pink, we have red, we have black, and titanium white. So for sketching purposes, I'll be using my white so that you can see it really against my canvas. So I'll be using fairly like a medium brush for this one. I'm gonna get my white and just, okay. So let's just sketch the subject now. You know, I'm very straightforward when it comes to my paintings. So let's proceed. And sorry about the street noise. You know, I love painting roses. And I think one of my first paintings back in 2017, when I was just beginning, okay, was a rose. And it was from a tutorial, you know. It was from, I think, Katie Jobling. She was one of my first online teachers. Not that she know that, but I was learning from her through her tutorials as well. And now I make my own tutorials, which I am so proud about because before I was just one of those uh, students, you know, who didn't know how to paint, who was just learning. And I'm so happy to tell my previous online teachers, even if they don't know me, that I've learned so much from them and that um, I continue, you know, doing something that they did for me. I'm doing this for my own audience so that they learn from me. And what I've learned um, are actually applied to my own paintings and pass on to my viewers. So that's what I really like about what I'm doing now, because um, everything that I know, I try to pass it on to other people. Okay. Okay. So this is very focused on the rose petals, which I'm so excited about. Okay. I might do a little bit of adjusting. Okay, right here. Right here. All right, and now I'm gonna underpaint it. So for the underpainting, okay, I'll be using my pink color. So I'm gonna grab my pink right here. Okay, I might use a little bit of violet. I feel like I should use a little bit of violet for this one. So I'm gonna get my violet. So using a little bit of violet, we will be toning down the pink color. So I'm gonna get my pink right here, mix it with violet. Okay. And this is a good underpainting. Actually, I might use a little more violet because we want the underpainting to be darker, you know, to be darker than the actual color. And I really miss painting. Lately, um, not really painting, painting new stuff, but I promised to do a new tutorial. And also, this is my way of, you know, going back to painting, which is my first love. Okay, for the sketch lines, you can actually paint over that, but I don't want to paint over that just yet, simply because I want to show you how I'm going to divide each petal, or I'm going to separate each petal from each other. Okay, this is just the underpainting. I actually have my hair dryer with me, so that if I decide to dry things a little bit faster, I have my hair dryer, and you will not waste your time watching me wait for the paint to dry. I'm gonna get my black, and I'm gonna darken this portion. It will make sense later because I'm trying to do a little bit of shadows and depth here, and this will make sense later. Okay. And in order for that to not be too black, I'm gonna add a little bit of red so that it's not too dark. So mix your black and red to add some shadows and depth right here. You have to do it now because we're already here. Okay, and I'm gonna do the same color right here. So I'm gonna mix my pink and violet. Okay, again, I can paint over the sketch line, okay, because I can always do the sketch line later. The initial sketch lines that I showed you are just mere guide for you to identify where things are gonna go. But for purposes of actually doing the painting, we have to paint over them. Okay, you just have to remember where you place them. All right, like that. That would be the underpainting for that, and I love it. I'm gonna add a little bit of black to that, not too much though, and I'm gonna underpaint this with some darker violet pinky color. Like that. And I'm gonna go for my pink for the edge. All right, just like that. Okay, and I'm gonna use the same pinky color right here. You can use mere pink color because this part of the leaf is quite highlighted. So it will help if you already use a light pink color for that. Okay, now I'm going to go a little bit darker for this side, simply because this is not well lit. So I'm going to mix my violet here, pink, and black, just to darken it even more. Again, this is to emphasize darkness, not to make it black. Okay. Gonna add a little bit of red. Okay. And also right here. Okay, I'm gonna get my pink color. like that. Okay. Gonna get my black just to darken this even more. Just try to blend. All right. Right. Just like that. Okay, and I'm gonna do the same pinky purplish color right here. Okay. All right. Perfect. Okay, I'm gonna get my pink and a little bit of white, and I'm gonna make it a little bit grayish. Okay. For this part, like the back petals, make it a little bit grayish. Again, you don't want to do super dark petals right here, but there should be a suggestion of dark petals. I mean, grayish petals, not dark. Okay, just like that. So basically, this is the shape of the rose that we'll be doing. Now I'm gonna switch to a finer brush. Okay, I'm gonna switch to a finer brush. So I'm gonna wash my brush out. Okay, set it aside and use a smaller brush. Gonna get my violet and I'm gonna go and darken the edges of my rose. And as you can see here, I'm doing a little bit of short diagonal brush strokes just to imitate markings on the petals of a real rose. Okay. All right. Okay. I'm gonna get my pink again, mix it with a little bit of black just to tone it down, but more dominantly, it should be lighter pink. And we're gonna do, oops, a little bit of, it's a little bit wet. We're gonna lighten, I'm gonna add white. Okay. I'm gonna get my white again, mix it with pink, and I'm gonna make some highlights right here. Okay, like that. And then same color along the edge of this petal. And I'm gonna use my fingers in blending it. All right. And in the same manner, right here. And I'm gonna highlight a little bit here. You have to do your brush strokes, like going inwards, the petals, right here. And you do a little bit of blending because you don't want the flowers to look like it consists of a lot of separate parts. You should be able to blend. Okay, so I'm gonna make a little bit of blending right here because it's too dark. Again, I'm using my hands when it comes to blending. I'm just a huge fan of finger painting when it comes to blending. Ever since, okay, it's not the first time that I'm doing this. Ever since I started painting, blending using my hands um, has been my thing. Again, try to make some inward brush strokes towards the center of the flower. Okay, I'm gonna highlight this. You can use a finer brush. Actually, I don't like this brush at all. It's too thick. I'm gonna use this brush to go along the edges of some petals. Like that. Gonna highlight this. And then this part is quite wet. Okay, I might use my hair dryer, but we have to wait. If it dries, because we still have a lot of parts that we can work on while waiting for some areas to dry. So we can focus more on those areas first. We don't have to use our hair dryer now. Okay, I'm gonna get my pink and white. We're actually on the first stage of highlighting. So pink and white, sorry. Okay, like that. And some highlights here. Some highlights there. I'm gonna get my pure white and I'm gonna highlight this part. Also, okay. I'm gonna wash my brush out and I'm gonna get my red. Okay. So I'm gonna mix my red with a little bit of black just to make it dark red. We don't want to remove the redness of this red color. So if you have some dark red, that would do. But my red is pure red and I don't want that. So using my pure red, I'm just gonna go along the petal. All right. And also, this part is still wet, but I'm gonna try to make it more red. Right here. And I'm gonna try to blend it. Just like that. Okay. Like that. Okay. Also here. Along the edge. Okay. Right, like that. Also right here. Okay, I'm gonna make it a little more red than dark, than black. Okay, that's what I meant. I'm gonna make it more red than black. I think I really darkened this portion with some black. So now I'm gonna use some reds to make it dark red and not black. And I'm gonna make some markings. You know those markings that we see on the petals, like veins? Yeah, I'm gonna make those lines. Okay. And I'm gonna make some dark or grayish pink color. Okay, like that. And using a wider brush. Okay, so I'm gonna get again my pink. Okay, and I'm gonna try to make some markings that are quite horizontal, quite diagonal, following the shape of the petal. Okay, like that. Right. Okay. I'm gonna get my red and going to mix it with that. Okay. Okay, and then using a finer brush, I'm gonna get back to my red and include some veins right here and try to move inwards. like this. Okay. Try to make it more red again. Don't make it appear dark. Blend a bit. All right. Okay, now I'm gonna get my white or light pink. Okay, and I'm gonna do the same thing as to those bleeding effects. I call them bleeding effects. So just use more water and then just tap it. Okay. You can make it a little more gray by using black. Okay. Okay. Yes. All right. Yeah, to make it look more natural. Okay. And I'm gonna get a little bit of black. And just make some markings right here, darkening the edges of this petal, making it look more natural looking, okay? All right, I'm gonna get some dark red. So I'm gonna mix my red and black. And I'm gonna create a dark separation right here. Okay, like that. And then using some red without washing my brush. So there's still a little bit of black in there. And I'm gonna go around this area. Try to separate this petal from the rest of, or from the petal that's next to it. Okay. So this one. Okay, now using a wider brush, I'm gonna get my purplish grayish color and okay, I'm gonna make it lighter. Again, we don't want this to appear black because we're not painting a black rose. But we want to make it dark. It's just that it doesn't have to be black. Okay. Okay. Now using some green here while we're still waiting for the paint to dry, I'm gonna get my green and do a little bit of dark, green markings right here to suggest some leaves in the background, though we're not going to detail any leaf here, but we're going to make a little bit of suggestion, like blurring effect. Okay. I might use a little bit of yellow just for this purpose, but we're not going to be detailing so much about the leaf, really. Okay, I'm gonna get my white, mix it with green, and I'm just gonna lighten this up a bit. All right. Okay. That's good. And now I'm going to get a finer brush. I'm going to get my pink, and I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of detailing right here in the innermost petal. It's not really inner, but it's one of the inside petals. Okay, like that. And then more detailing right here. Okay. Gonna mix my pink and white just for detailing. Okay, let's lighten this petal. Also this. I'm gonna make some markings. These are just pats on the painting. Like that. You can hear my scrubbing. Okay. And then using some pinks, let's go ahead and make some patterns right here. You know what? The key to finishing this is to keep going. Really, keep going. Because I'll be going back and forth to different areas. Sorry about that. About that noise, I mean. It's very noisy outside. Okay, some highlights right there. Okay, and then using some pink, I'm gonna make some highlights along the edges. Right, like that. And then using some violet. Oh, sorry. Using some dark red. And I get my red right here. Mix it with black. And I'm just gonna make this a little more dark red. So I'm gonna mix with black. And try to apply it evenly here. Right, just like that. Okay, I'm gonna get my gray color. So I'm gonna mix my black and white to make some gray color, but I'll be adding violet to that so that it's like grayish purplish color. Okay, like this. And try to blend. Oops, I can see a little bit of green color. Okay. And also here, like that color. Okay. Now I want to use a little bit of like blurring effect. So I'm gonna get my pink and black. Sorry, I'm gonna get my red. So I'm gonna use this. Okay, I'm gonna get my black. I'm gonna use a little bit of a mixture of black and pink and red to blur this area of the flower. So I'm gonna go and glaze in between and then use my fingers to kind of blend it. It's like fading away. Okay. Use water if necessary, but try to make it appear more blurring. Okay, like that. Can you see that? Okay, I like that. I really like that. Also right here. Okay, now to clean that part, we want to make sure that everything's still black. Okay. Try to clean. Okay. Just use black and cover those areas, in the background. The background should still maintain its black color. We want to make sure that the main focus would be the flower. Okay, remove that. That's really nice. I like that. But I still feel that this area is still looking awkward, looking like needs a little bit of repair. So anyway, I'm gonna let this dry before I glaze it with some pink and white. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna get my white or gray color. And then going here, I'm just gonna try to blend that gray color, highlighting this area. And also here. Also right here, try to highlight it. Oops. Some areas are still wet. Okay, like that. Okay. Right here, some light pink. Right, and then I'm gonna push it down using some pink and red. Try to push it right here, push it down. I'm gonna lighten this part. Using some pink and purple. And then some pink and white. Okay. For the inner petals. Okay, I'm gonna get my dark reds. Okay, dark reds. Like that. I'm gonna get some purplish gray. Again, just to remove that super dark color. Try to blend. Gonna get some reds here and there. Gonna add a little bit of shadowing or marking. And I'm gonna highlight this fold right here. And some white. And some white. These are just markings on the petals. You don't want to make smooth markings, okay? You want to make some rough markings, meaning very raw, like you allow the paintbrush to do the job for you. So I'm just allowing what's left on my paintbrush to do the job for me. Dry brushing. You know, using some reds. Let's do a little bit of and pink, reds and pinks. And I want to do a little bit of a bleeding effect. Some bleeding here. And then we're gonna blot. So using some watered down pinks and reds, just gonna do a little bit of blotting. like markings that are, they're not really like veins, but these are just markings that we see on the petals. Okay. And then using some, again, purplish colors, violet. Okay, and then I want a little bit of red right here. Like that. Okay. Now I'm gonna get my purplish colors. I'm gonna try to blend. Right. I'm just using the remaining colors on my paintbrush. You know, the dry brushing technique here. And I'm gonna use a wider brush. I'm gonna get my, I think this is pretty much dry. So I'm gonna use my pink color. I'm gonna water it down. Okay. Meaning I'm gonna add, or I'm gonna use a lot more water than usual, and I'm gonna glaze over certain areas here. And I think I'm just gonna allow that to do the job for me. And like that also right here. Oops, my paintbrush. Okay, it's not paintbrushing. Some more highlights right here. And on the back. And right here. A little bit of highlights, even if it's not well lit. Using my white, I'm just gonna make some markings again. Like that. Okay, and using some dark reds. Okay, like that. All right. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then I'm gonna get my white and pink. And I'm gonna try to highlight. And using my dark red, I'm gonna redefine that fold, just like that. Okay. And using some dark or grayish pink color. Okay. With a little bit of purple. Okay. Let's make it lighter to make some blending. Okay. All right. Just like that. Okay. And then white and pink again. Here. Okay. And then I'm gonna get my white and pink. Let's create some little markings right here. Mm, like that. And then get some reds. Okay. Yes. Right. Wow, I really love this one. I really love this one. Actually, I need to like fix the camera. So sorry about that. Okay. Okay. Then using some white, we need to highlight actually this flower. We need to highlight it. Like that. Okay. And I'm gonna get my pink again. And my reds. It's all about markings. Really. Yeah, I keep going back to certain areas, but then I've been doing the same thing. That's the joy of painting. Wow, I really like this one. And to soften it, I'm gonna do a little bit of blotting just to soften the markings. Some blots, meaning I'm not really dragging my paintbrush. I'm just dabbing it in a very fast motion in order for me to create as well some markings. Okay. Gonna get my red. Ah, and gonna get my white. It's really nice. I really like this one. You see, for me, a rose is an abstract flower, especially the petals. So yeah, I just turned off my microphone, simply because there was like a. I hope I successfully turned it off because there was some sort of a fire, fire car, fire truck, fire car. I'm gonna get my yellow, just a little bit of yellow, and I'm gonna apply it right here on the leaf portion. Remember, we're not really detailing the leaf. We're just trying to suggest what's in there and what should be there. We're not trying to detail anything here. Let's focus on the main subject, which is the flower. I'm gonna get my black and I'm gonna separate that from the flower. like that. Okay, absolutely beautiful. Okay, now still gonna use my white, and I'm gonna do a little bit of horizontal brush strokes just to blend everything together, making everything look one and connected. Okay, like that. Right here. Okay, some highlights, random highlights. Okay, right here. Here, highlights. And then some markings. Let's see. Oh, I really like this one. Oh my gosh. Mhm. I really like this one. And then just to make everything like whole, I'm gonna get my pink. Remember our pink color? And I'm gonna water it down. Okay, and I'm gonna apply it over this petals over here just to make everything still look pink without, making them super dark. And by glazing, we make them like a one subject. We can actually overlap. And right here, a little bit of shadow or light. Mhm. Right here as well. The back petals. Then I'm gonna get some dark gray color. just like that. And then we really need to separate that from the forefront petals, or foreground petals. What am I saying? Forefront. All right, I love this one. Absolutely, right? I absolutely love this one. Okay. And then I'm gonna get some highlights right here. These are like markings. And let's do a little bit of pinkish colors. Okay, that's great. And I'm gonna darken a little bit under this fold. Okay, I'm gonna darken it a little bit because it's a fold. Therefore, there should be some sort of shadows, right? Okay. Okay. Also here. Yeah, I really like this one. Okay, I'm gonna sign this now. I really like it. I absolutely love this painting. So I'm gonna sign this now, and for the signature, I'm just gonna use my white um, color, and I'm gonna sign right here. All right, and we're done. I hope you enjoy that one. I hope you paint along with me. I'm gonna link in the description box below all other rose petal tutorials that I've done in the past, so that you can choose from among them. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this one as much as I did. And let me know if you're painting along with me, if you would like to suggest another painting subject for me to do a tutorial for. And see you in my next one, guys. Have a great weekend. Bye. Love you.